Hello, guys. Today I am going to be reading a Todoroki X Reader fanfiction. This is by That Lone Yandere on Wattpad. And I do not know who the art is by, so whoever has this art, please do not blame that I have it right now. So, let's get started. Listener's point of view. I jogged into the halls of UA, tugging down on the short skirt. I really didn't like it. I slowly looked up at the huge doors labeled 1A. I sucked in a deep breath, as always, and opened it. Ida almost immediately ran up to me, making hand motions and telling about how I was late and I looked exhausted. I'm 5 minutes early. Chill out. Also, for your information, I got some sleep, I said blinty, and started to walk away. Ida popped up in front of me and tried to continue his lecture, but I cut him off, not wanting to listen to it. I told you I'm fine. I can take care of myself, I said, walking to my seat in the back next to Todoroki. He, he respected my privacy at least. Did you get any sleep last night? Todoroki asked from beside me. I sucked in a deep breath and looked at him, forcing a smile onto my face. Look, enough sleep for me. Stop asking, I said, trying not to be rude, but honestly, was not up for personal health questions. He didn't reply instantly, looking forward. I sighed and lowered my head to the desk. I gently stroked my hair with my hand, trying to calm myself down and maybe regain a bit of energy. I groaned as I heard Mr. Aizawa talking about what today's lesson is. I lazily closed my eyes, feeling myself drift off. I'm sure Mr. Aizawa won't mind if I sleep 5 minutes or something. Todoroki's point of view. I watched as everyone filtered out in the classroom, then looked over at Listener, who had fallen asleep during class. She definitely lied when she said she had gotten enough sleep, because she passed out in a matter of seconds, her hand still resting on her head. I hesitated a second before grabbing her shoulder. She moaned softly and nuzzled her face into her arm. I squeezed her shoulder and she slowly peeled her eyes open. She jumped slightly when she saw me. She groaned standing up. Why? She said. I looked down at her. She was the shortest class if she was the shortest of the class if Mineta didn't exist. You fell asleep. It's lunchtime now. We were doing some practice after lunch, I said. She groaned again, but this time quieter. Are you okay? I asked. She looked up at me. Her eye-color eyes flashed at me. I'm fine, she insisted, her arms dropping to her sides. I nodded and started to walk out. I could hear her yawn and start walk behind me. This is not the first time I had to wake her up. Listener's point of view. I yawned and followed Todoroki out of the classroom. He looked back, opening his mouth to say something, but closed it and turned back around. I'm not stalking you. We are just going to the same place. So don't find this creepy, I said, and he nodded. Maybe it wasn't necessary. Maybe it was, I just want him to think, I didn't want him to think I was being creepy, or something like that. We walked into the lunchroom and I hissed through my teeth. Seeing all these people, I slowly walked to the table considering, nobody. How are you going to practice like that? Yuraka said, sitting right next to me. I jolted slightly. I opened my mouth, but nothing came out but a small squeak. She got up. I'll leave you alone, she said cheerfully, and bounced off to sit next to Ida and Deku. Todoroki slid into the seat across from me. I looked at him with a sigh. Why are you sitting here? I asked firmly. He shrugged his shoulders. It's less crowded. And, yeah, he said. I let out a small As Todoroki ate his food, I couldn't help but stare and burn his left eye. When did you get that? I said, pointing at it to it. He didn't answer, so I left him alone. Nothing that he didn't want to talk about it. I dropped my head to the table, my forehead banging against the table. I could feel Todoroki's eyes burn into my head. Maybe if I hit my head hard enough, I'll die, I said lazily. Your power can be useful, and yourself are strong. It would surely be a great loss, Todoroki said. I lifted my head, narrowing my eyes, not being able to tell if he was joking or not. Suddenly, the bell rang, and Todoroki got up and stretched out. And Todoroki turned around to look at me. Go get on your costume. We will be training really soon, he said, turning back around and walking to the trash can. Mm-hmm, I said, walking to the girls' changing room down the hall. I opened the door, grabbing my costume out of its case. I started taking off my shirt, but held it over my chest when I heard the door open. I turned around to see Momo, and I rolled my eyes. I really didn't like her. She's such a snob sometimes. I was then removing my shirt and my pants and looking at my costume. It's simply your favorite color bodysuit. I didn't restrict my movements due to the thinness, but it was very tight. I sighed as I slipped it on, walking out, then waited for everyone else to meet up again. I crossed my arms as I got off the bus. I sadly didn't get any more sleep due to Bakugo's yelling and how he was going to beat whoever stands in his way. Being the best, Mr. Aizawa stood in front of us. We will be making groups consisting of 2 heroes, 1 villain, and 1 victim. First group is going to be Todoroki and Listener, Bakugo, and lastly Mineta. He said, my brow furrowed as I looked over at Bakugo. I'm going to crush you, little. Bakugo started yelling angrily at me, and Todoroki and I tried to use my quirk, but it couldn't. I looked over at Mr. Aizawa. His black hair was raised. It usually does when he reads quirks. Save it for later, he commanded and nodded. He stopped his erasing of my quirk, and his hair dropped. The 2 heroes are Todoroki and Listener. We'll find the villain, Bakugo, somewhere in the city. The villain and victim know of a spot they will meet up. You don't know, and that you don't know. The heroes will capture the villain and protect the victim. The victim is able to fight when the heroes are on the way. That's it. You will be watched by the classmates as you walk for their turn. Wait for their turn. Make a good impression, he said, but I was more focused on Todoroki, who stared at me. That was part 1. I'm probably going to read part 2 and part 3 through. Todoroki examined me. Bakugo and Mineta headed into the city. Structured and me and Todoroki finally decided to say something as everyone left to watch. I think we'll be able to find Bakugo easily, knowing him. He will most likely be making large explosions. We can't find him but the smoke. I bet he won't think of you're quick and focus on me, since I have the quirk that mostly used in combat. I want to teleport behind him and get his guard down. I will freeze him in time. You protect Mineta, and I will keep Bakugo contained. Got it? Todoroki said, looking down at me. I nodded at the and the alarm started, signaling us to come in. We both quickly ran into the city, slowing down once we saw smoke to the right. Wow, I wonder who's under that smoke, I said sarcastically. Todoroki didn't answer and started heading in that direction. I started jogging to keep up with him. After a few minutes of jogging, we were practically in the smoke. He After a few minutes, we were practically in the smoke. He stopped abruptly, causing me to run straight into Todoroki's back. I almost yelped out of the shock, but he turned around and covered my mouth. His reaction as quick as a stray cat. He put his finger to his lips and signaled for me to stay back. I nodded to Todoroki, and Todoroki pulled his hand away from my mouth, running into the alleyway containing the smoke. Where's the girl, Canadian flag? I heard Bakugo yell. Then an explosion. I could see an ice wall form peeking over some of the shorter buildings. More explosions, fire, ice, silence. Good job, Todoroki, I whispered under my breath. I then closed my eyes, teleporting under Bakugo, like I had planned. I mentally gave myself a high five. I'm right here, I heard teasing him. He quickly raised his hand, trying to blast me, but I teleported again. This time behind Todoroki, Mineta's right there. Right here. Take care of him. Todoroki commanded quickly, freezing the ground and Bakugo all the way up to his neck, so he couldn't blast the ice off of him. I looked at Mineta, who had blood all over his face. I sat down and laid Mineta's head in my lap. He looked at a perverted giggle and slowly gave me thumbs up. Shut up. I have to protect you, I hissed. I took out a tissue from the pocket of my costume and started wiping the blood off his face. Why do you bring tissues with you? Mineta questioned. I looked down at him before wiping his face harder. You people are fakely pigs, I said, and put the blood covering tissue in my pocket. Listener, we got him. Let's carry Mineta, Todoroki and I shook my head. You don't have. I started, but he started, but Mineta cut me off, staring up at me. I wonder how soft you're. He started, but I smacked him, causing him to shut up. Take this creep, I said, cutting Mineta's little comment off. Disgust that he took Mineta off my lap. Todoroki, you should go. I'll be here for a second. I started feeling my stomach turn. It was not a good sign. Why? They are refused if you aren't with me, Todoroki said. I suddenly leaned over to the side, throwing up my breakfast. I gagged slightly. Pulling away from the puddle of puke, Todoroki bent down next to me. Are you okay? Todoroki asked. I started to nod, but slowly felt my head starting to pound. A normal symptom after using my quirk. Yeah, I usually don't feel sick after using it, so it was kind of new. I grabbed my head, shutting my eyes tightly. I then felt myself feeling unconscious. Todoroki's point of view. Listener held her head, closing her eyes. She was all shaky, and on top of that, her eyes suddenly dropped from her head, falling on her lap. I put Mineta and looked at him. He stared at Listener, who had faded. Can you walk on your own? She's unconscious, I asked him. He nodded, and I started to pick listener up, bridal style. I groaned softly as I exited the alleyway. I looked down at her as I watched some of the puke was still left around her mouth, but I stopped abruptly, raising her head. Bakugo, I didn't unfreeze Bakugo. Stay here, I said, and walked into the alleyway. Bakugo immediately said it, ranting. That was such a stupid mistake, leaving me behind. Imagine I was a real villain, and what with that girl throwing up and then fading after teleporting only 2 times. He said. I put my hand on the ice until it melted. I had to admit it was kind of awkward while I held listener. I couldn't just put her down on the ground. I just it didn't feel it was right. I didn't respond, even know even know the answer to that. She doesn't usually do that. The only thing she would get is a headache if she teleported a lot in a short time span. Oro practically leaped out of the ice and started speed walking ahead of me. I sighed and tried to not look down at listener too much. Listener, point of view. I woke up in the dorm building. I groaned softly, rolling over into my stomach, but I didn't land where I expected. I landed straight onto the floor. I lay there for a second, my face pressed against the floor. I didn't even remember going back to the dorm building and falling asleep. I was really out of my dorm room, so I found everything really strange. Are are you okay? I heard somebody ask. I could feel a shiver run down my spine, and I jumped to see Deku Ugly standing in front of me. When when am I not? I said, and pushed myself up from the floor, leaning back against leaning back. Oh my god, I think it's weird. Leaning back against the couch. I jumped I jumped when I saw everyone sitting down and talking. Why am I even out here? I seriously hate all of you, I said, mumbling the last part. No one heard me. When you you threw up and faded after training, so Todoroki said that we should just let you sleep, so he carried you back here, Deku said, a hint of awkwardness in his voice. I sighed. Ida put his arm on my forehead. It it looks it looks could kill. He would be dead in the moment he even got near me. I pulled away, slapping his arm. Don't touch me, I said, standing up. I could see Todoroki out of the corner of my eye, staring at the wall. But your forehead is boiling hot. You shouldn't. Ida started his lecture, yet I was fed up with it. Shut up. None of you should worry about me. I have full control of myself, I said. Looked over at Todoroki. I sucked in a breath before turning away from Ida and walking towards him. He sat down, looking at looking down at me. Thank you, I said bluntly and looking off to my dorm before he could answer. I opened the door and flopped onto my stomach on the bed. My body bounced up before falling back down. Why all people? Why do I even try anymore? I said to myself, letting myself drift off to that thought. Okay, so that with part one and part two, I would be doing 2 parts of this story every day, just so you can keep up with it. I might post part three and four to later on tonight. So yeah, I'm gonna be doing 2 other fanfiction reads. I don't know why I'm posting so much in a day, but it's like I found out how easy it is to post on here. So thank you for your guys' time, and I hope you had a wonderful day. Bye.